I'm working in the legal service, Directorate Quality of Legislation, since 2006. The previous job I made was working for the Belgian PAMRAP as member of Coreper 1, dealing with all matters linked to competitiveness, internal market, as a deputy PAMRAP in Coreper 1. So I joined the legal service in 2006, and at that time the Director General, Mr. Jean-Claude Péris, wanted to create a new directorate dedicated to quality of legislation. It was quite new. Before that, we had a Service des juristes linguistes, lawyer linguist service, with 46 people in 2006. And he wanted to focus more on quality of drafting, because he noticed that our text, the legal text of the EU, contained too many mistakes, and we needed to dedicate more efforts to improve the quality of our text. So I don't know if you were there last year, because I made an intervention explaining how the lawyer linguists of the Council are working every day. And I tried last year to explain how it is complicated to elaborate European law, European standards. Today, I will try to focus more on what we have done to improve the quality, the steps that have been done since last year, and in particular, how we have developed what we call a quality action plan in our directorate. A dream or a challenge? Of course, it is both. It is a dream because it is very difficult to have good quality legislation. But it is a challenge because we are here to try to improve that quality, to try to find some solutions together, working with the member states, with the delegates, with the different ministry, to try to improve again and again the quality of our text. It is a question of legal certainty, but it is also a question of credibility of the EU. This is why it is so important. So, dream or challenge, we will see together. Of course, I have to mention that even if I'm working in the Secretariat General of the Council, I expose here my personal opinion and not committing my institution. Of course, I'm perfectly, comment je vais dire, complying with the guidelines of my institution, but I speak on a personal point of view that will allow me to be quite free in my speech. So, the main characteristic of union law, of course, is that it is negotiated law, what we call a compromised law. But you may say that each law is the result of compromise. Of course it is. But we have the particularity to have around the table 27 member states. We have the particularity in co-decision to have 736 MEP, and all these people for co-decision file have to decide together. In co-decision meaning together, member states and MEPs. And as you can imagine, it is not always easy to find compromise with so many different positions, so many different opinions in the member states, and so many sometimes legal or tradition, different legal tradition in the different member states, and sometimes in some very technical dossier. So it is not easy to find compromise with so many different actors, with so many different positions. The second aspect, the second characteristic of EU law is that these laws are elaborated, are prepared in a multilingual system. As you may know, the European Union is the only organization in the world producing law in so many different languages, 23 official languages. This is the only one. As you can observe, or you can see in NATO or OECD or other organizations, you don't find so many different languages. 23 official languages. Yes, negotiated, I mentioned compromise, yes, multilingualism. So the basis of the multilingualism, of course, is the regulation number 1. I will not insist on this legal basis, but this is the first regulation. This is important to know that the regulation concerning multilingualism was one of the first regulations adopted by the institution. Regulation number 1, adopted in 1958. 3 main rules. First of all, Article 2. Any citizen may write to the institution of the Union in one of the official languages and has the right to receive a reply in this language. So, rights for citizens. Article 4, regulations and other documents of general application shall be drafted in the official languages. Obligation of drafting. And the last one, obligation of publication in all the official languages. So, right for citizens, obligation to draft in all the 23 official languages, and obligation to publish in all official languages. That also means that you will have 23 equally authentic languages. That means that the rule has to be the same in all the 23 official languages. Even if the text is, of course, negotiated in one language, mainly English. The text in the working group of the Council, the text is discussed and prepared and negotiated in one language. The text has to be adopted in all 23 languages, and all these languages, they have to say the same thing. The rules should be the same in the 27 member states. That's why we have lawyer linguists. So just a few words about the 23 official languages. You can see the evolution from 1958 to 2007, from 4 languages, and now we have 23 languages. I have to mention that in our directorate, we have Croatian people, we have Croats, we have a lawyer linguist from Croatia. Why? Because they have to prepare the treaty, the accession treaty, and they also have to revise the acquis communautaire in order to be able to have all this legislative package ready when for the accession. So we have recruited 4 lawyer linguists for Croatian and 3 assistants. They are working now with us since February. And even if Croatian is not yet an official language, it will be after the, not the signature, but after the ratification process, so probably in July 2013. But we already have lawyer linguists for Croatian language. So, yes, perhaps a few words about the difference between working languages and official languages. So, official languages mean the languages that have been asked by the new member state to become official. And the working languages in the institution, it can be different from one institution to another one. For example, in the Council, we are working every day in English and French. In the Commission, you have 3 languages, French, German, and English. And for example, in the court, it is French or English. These are working languages, and the institutions are free to organize the way they are working. But the official languages, Trinity, are the same, of course, for all institutions. That means the official language in which texts have to be adopted and published. What about multilingualism in the Council? In the Council, we have transposed these obligations in the Rule of Procedures, Article 14, mention that deliberation and decision have to be taken on the basis of documents draft in all languages, except if it is decided unanimously and on grounds of urgency. We can have derogation. Sometimes it happens when we have some very urgent matters, for example, in external relation or ECOFIN, of course. Sometimes we have derogation and the text is adopted in one language, mainly English. But after that, the text has to be adopted in all the 22 other languages during another session of the Council. But sometimes it's happened that we have this derogation. But it also means that any member of the Council may oppose discussion if the text of any proposed amendment are not drawn up in all languages. So this is very important. This is a rule very important. And sometimes some delegates mentioned that article to refuse to adopt or to deliberate because they don't have all the languages. What about quality of drafting? This is the other part of the job of the lawyer linguist, quality of drafting, and the basis is you can find it in the Rules of Procedures, Article 22. Meaning that the legal service is responsible for checking the drafting quality of proposal and draft acts. And the legal service can make some suggestions to the attention of the Council and its bodies, meaning, for example, in working group or at COREPER level. And what is also important to mention, it is that this is throughout the legislative process, meaning that at any stage of the process, suggestions concerning quality of drafting can be made. Of course, it is better to make proposal at an earlier stage, as soon as possible. If you intervene with suggestion of drafting, improving drafting at the end of the process, after the political agreement, it's impossible to convince minister that it is just drafting suggestions, so it could be a bit suspicious to arrive at that time. So as soon as possible. That's why we intervene, lawyer linguists, we try to intervene on quality immediately when the text comes from the Commission on the table of the Council. We have a look on it. We have some team called Quality Advisor, and these people, they have a look on the text, on the quality of the text as soon as possible, and sometimes they propose some suggestion to the working group. We do not wait the end of the process to make some proposal about quality.